Howdy folks, hey, getting to be Christmas weekend. Wish you guys all a Merry Christmas. We've got a Sudoku game here. Difficulty level is hard. So let's get started, shall we? I do like that there's this row here that'll give us kind of a suggestion for what these two. So like see this 7 and 8 that can't be here. That tells us that these two are 7 and an 8. That's kind of neat. And we know one of these two is going to be a 5. See, there's a 2 and a 6 already over here. In fact, there's a pair of 6s and a pair of 6s. No 6 down the left, no 6 down the center, not on the top, not on the middle. So there's our 6. Mark one of these two as a 5. Okay, we do have a 1 through the left and 1 through the center, so we only have 2 spots that our 1 can be here. We also have a 1 down the left, and we have a ghost row down the right, and a 1 through the center. So we know we have a potential there for a 1. Okay, now we also have this center row right here, but it's a 7 and a 3, which don't help us very much. But we do have a 3 down the left, a 3 through the center, so we know that one of these outer two on the right have to be a 3. We have a 7 down the left, a 7 down the center. We know one of these two on the right have to be our 7. So that does help us a little bit, like in this column here. We've got some solutions there to help us out a smidge. Alright, so let's start looking for some other pairs if we can. Looking here in these 3, they all look unique. I don't see any pairs. Let's look in these 3. We've got 2 5s, 5 through the center, 5 through the bottom, 5 through the right, so we just have 1 spot for our 5. We do have a pair of 8s, so an 8 across the top, 8 through the middle, 8 through the center, just 1 spot for an 8. Now we do have an 8 down the left, an 8 down the center, so we know one of these 2 is going to be our 8, just kind of like matching these ones here. Let's see here, we have a pair of 7s. So we have a 7 through the top, 7 through the bottom, so we know 7's got to be in one of these middle ones. And so we've got all the 8s. Do we have any other pairs? Those 3 are pretty well locked up. Let's look at these 3. We've already got the 6s taken care of. I don't see any other pairs, so let's look now vertically. We've got the 5s taken care of. We've got the 6s taken care of. We have 2s. 2 down the right, 2 down the center. So now we have a 2 out here, and let's see, and then we have the 8s. Those are all of our pairs at the moment. Let's look at this center set of 3 vertically here. We have 2 8s here, so the left column and the right column are full, and then here's the bottom row is full. So just 1 spot left for our 8 there. That's good. Okay, we have our 3s, and we have our 3s marked. We have our 7s marked. And I think that is all of our pairs. Let's look in these last 3 here. We have a 9 down the left side, a 9 through the center. So we know we have a 9 in one of these 2 spots. Let's see what else. We do have our 7 and our 8, so we can bring those up. And then we have a 7 across the top. So we know one of these 2 is our 7. And then we have 8 across the bottom. So we know one of these 2 is our 8. Okay, now the other thing that we have that's unique with this bottom cube is because we know these are double locked, 7 and an 8. Doesn't matter how we sort this out. If this is a 7, this is an 8. If this is a 7, this is an 8. We now know that these 3 are the other remaining numbers, which is a 2, a 3, and a 5. So we do have a 3 here. So we'll put our 3 here. We have a 5 here, so we know we've got a 5 here or here. And then one of these is a 2. Now normally I don't mark them if they're 3, but I'm just going to do that so I know how to get that marked. Now I'm going to look at the rest of this column here because I only have 3 numbers not known. So I know I need a 1, and that could be anywhere. We've got our 2, we've got our 3. I need a 4. Now 4 can't be here. Okay, but it could be here or here. So I only got 2 spots in this column for the 4. And then we've got our 5. Alright, and then we need a 6. Well, we cannot have a 6 here. So the 6 has to be here or here, and then 7, 8, 9. Okay. Alright, so now if we know that we can't have a 6 here and we can't have a 6 through the center, this 6 and 9 are now double locked. See this 6 that comes across here, and the 6 that comes up, and then we have a 9 and a 9. So now these two are double locked. So now we only have 3 numbers left in this particular column. We've got a 1. Alright, we need a 2. Well, it can't be across the top, so we have a 2 here or here. We need a 3, but it cannot be in the middle. So 3 here and 3 here, that's going to match this 3. We need a 4, which it cannot be at the bottom. So there is our 4. Now, here is kind of a cool feature, because these two are double locked as a 7 and an 8, because these two are double locked as a 6 and a 9, these 3 numbers have to be 2, 3, and a 4, regardless. 2, 3, and a 4. Now, if these are a 4, that means this cannot be a 4, which means in this column, this is now the only spot left that can be a 4, and then the only other number we were missing in this column was a 1. Now these two numbers are now double locked. Okay, so the only number that we were missing in this cube is a 5, which has to be in the center. 5, 5, 5. Now we have this triple locked. Now these 3 numbers are going to reveal themselves. We need a 1, which is going to be here and here. Can't be there. We need a 2, and we need a 3. Now the cool thing about this one is the 2 and the 3 are in the same row. So if you need 3 numbers and 2 of them are eliminated, well, the only spot left to be is that 1 number there. So we now know that we have a 2 and a 3 here and here, and that is now marked out. Now this 1 is going to help us now. We have a 1 across the top, 1 through the middle, 1 down the right. Only 1 spot left for the 1. We now have a 1 down the left, 1 down the center. We just have 2 spots left for a 1 in this cube. Now this row here is starting to reveal itself here. We've got a 1, we've got a 2, we've got a 3, we need a 4. Now we don't have very many 4s in this puzzle. I'm looking at the center cube here. We cannot have a 4 here. We cannot have a 4 here. So we actually have a 4 here. Now here's a cool thing. 4 down the left. We now have a ghost row through the center. Now have a 4 across the bottom. So in this cube, this is the only spot left for a 4, which also now eliminates, we only had 2 spots for a 7. So now we have that 7 identified. Now with this 7 identified, now we can help this one. Well, there's our 7, there's our 8, and remember we were tied up with our 8s over here. Now there's our 8, and then I need to make sure to clean this up. Clean that up there, so there's our 8. Okay, so that helped us a lot. This ghost rows. Ghost rows are very, very important. Okay, let's see. We were looking for this particular row. Now it still could be a 4 over here. We've got our 5. We need a 6. Now 6 cannot be here, but it could be here, and it could be here. We'll mark that here. Now up here in this top cube, I was just looking at these 6s here. This 6 comes up, this 6 comes through, so there's only 2 spots. That's a 5, not a 5. 6 can go there, or 6 can go there, and that is it, because of this 6 and this 6. Okay, we've got our 7 identified, we've got our 8 identified, and we need a 9, which could be here, could be here, could be here. Okay, we're not going to mark all those. That's okay. Now this particular column, now that we did this 4 and 7, only has 3 numbers missing. We've got a 1, we need a 2. Well, a 2 cannot go here, but it could go here, 2, or here, 2. We need our 3, which it can't be down here, so there's our 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we need a 9. So a 9 could be in any one of those. Now I'm looking here at this particular row, because we cannot have a 9 here, but we could have a 2 here, and we could have a 9. We're missing a 2, 3, and a 9 here in this row. We can't have a 2, but we can have a 3 or a 9. Just wanted to get that updated, that row right there, why it was fresh in my mind. Okay, alright, so we've gotten a couple more numbers. I just want to double check to make sure I didn't miss anything with my marks here. Okay. Alright. Okay. Okay, it's looking good, looking good. I'm kind of just, my mind is getting towards evening mode here, so I'm staring at it and it's now just looking like numbers. So I've got to relax here just a little bit here. And I'm looking at this particular row because I know these two spots are locked, and I'm seeing this 5 and 7, 5 and 7. So I know I still need a 5 and a 7, and I still need a 2 and a 4. And see, there's the 2 and a 4. But now let's see here. So these are my 4 numbers that I'm missing: a 2, 4, 5, and a 7. So I can't have a 2 or a 5. But here I could have a 4 or a 7. Okay, now here I could have a 2 or a 5, but not the 4 or the 7. Right, 2, 5. So now this particular row is all marked out. Marking is very important in these harder games to help make sure that we get them lined out good. Okay, now I'm looking at this column here, and I see the 7, because we were just doing the 7 here. Cannot have a 7 here, and I cannot have a 7 here, and I cannot have a 7 here. So that means my 7 is right here in one of these two spots. Okay, I've got a 7 across the top, I've got a 7 across the bottom, so I've got a 7 here. Alright, now I'm noticing I forgot all my pairs, so we put a lot of numbers here. I've got a 4 and a 4, 4 across the middle, 4 across the bottom. Okay, so now my 4 has to be here. Now I can't have a 4 here, here, or here, but I could have one here. Just kind of marking where they could be. Let's see, did I get any other pairs? I think that was all of my pairs that I got. See, this one here, I don't have any numbers at all. So let me look at this particular spot. Okay, because here's my potential for my 1. Alright, sorry, I had to answer the phone there for a moment. Okay, where was I? Oh, I wanted to check this spot out. So, because there's a potential for a 1 here, this cannot be a 1. Can't be a 2, can't be a 3, can't be a 4, can't be a 5, can't be a 6, can't be a 7, can't be an 8. See this spot right here? The only number that will fit there is a 9. Now, here's a cool thing about this 9 down here is because of this lane. Remember how we double locked the 7 and 8 at the beginning with these two 7 and 8? We now have a 5 and a 9 that will double lock these two fellers, this 5 and this 9 over here. So now 5 and a 9 is locked into there. We now have a 2, a 4. Remember we had a 4 that was a possibility over here. 2, 4, and a 7. Can't be a 2 here, 4 and a 7, so this could be a 4. So now that one is all locked up and buttoned up nice and clean with a 5 and a 9. Okay, so now we should be able to identify these 3 numbers, which 1, 4, and a 7 look pretty good, but that'll tell us what this number is. A 3? There we go. See this 3 here? Can't have a 3 here. This is the only spot left in this column for a 3. Ooh, it took my brain a little bit to get that. But we do have a 3 also here and a 3 across the bottom. So we do know we need a 3 here or here. And we know now this row is going to resolve itself because it cannot be a 3 anymore because of this 3 and because of this 3. So we know that has to be a 9. Now this spot cannot be a 9 anymore, so it has to be a 2. This cannot be a 2 anymore, so it has to be a 3. And then we just follow that pattern. These were locked, 2s and 3s. So there is our 2. Alright, so we have a 4 and a 7 right here. That looks nice. Now the cool thing about with this 4 and a 7 now means this cannot be a 4. Alright, so we will put the 4 up here. 4 goes there because this cannot be a 4. We'll clean that up. Now the 6 and 9 are going to be locked. Just like the 6 and 9 here, the 6 and 9. And then this 6 and 9. 6 and 9. I'm just kind of looking here vertically to see if there's anything to help us out. Ooh, hey, look at that. There is. Look at this 9 here that comes across the top. This 9 that comes up across the bottom. This is the only spot in this cube that can be a 9, which helps us to resolve. This now has to be a 6. This now has to be a 9. This now has to be a 6. This now has to be a 9. Okay, so we can follow that through. All right. Now I'm noticing that we have another 9 up here. So see the 9 through the middle, 9 through the left. We also have these 3s, because see the 2 3s over here. So now these 3s and 9s are going to be double locked. Now with this being a 3, this would be a 9. If this is a 3, this is a 9. So this 2 does not belong there anymore, which means this is the only spot left in this cube that can be a 2. No 2 here. No 2 here. There could be a 2 here. Maybe I miswrote that. Okay, well let's get rid of that 6. That can't be there. Okay, and that's why I want to be careful with my pencil marks, because sometimes I will have an error, and right there, if I assume that was a 2, I've got 2 numbers missing here, and that looks like a 2 and a 5. Hey, look at that, 2 and a 5. 2 and a 5. Okay, now we have these 6s, so this is the only spot left for a 6. Let me double lock that 2 and a 5. It's a good thing we did not mark that. I would have boogered that one up. We'll put that 2 and a 5 and that 2 and a 5. Very good. Now we did put a 6 here. Now we have a 1 and a 6 that are locked. So now that our 6 is there, there's our 6. There's our 1. We had 2 1s locked down here. So now 1 cannot go here. 1 has to go here. Only spot left for our 7 is there. Only spot left for our 4 is there. Now we had only 2 spots for our 4. They just cascade. Once you start solving one, it just has that trickle effect. So our 4 has to go here. Remember, these 3 right here are interlocked in the right side. 2, 3s, and 4s. So here's a 2 and a 4. So this one has to be a 3. All right. And now that that's a 3, this has to be a 2. Now that that's a 2, that one has to be our 4. Now this 2 and 5 that were locked is now going to be resolved with this 2. Now this 5 is going to bring it down here. It's going to make that one a 2. Okay, now we can take this 2 out of here. I'm just cleaning up my pencil marks so that's nice and clean. Now 2 could only be in one of these 2 spots. Now that we have this 2, we know that this one has to be our 2. And I'm going to clean up my pencil mark. Now here, this 4 and 7 cannot be a 7. So this is the only spot left that can be a 4 because this one has to be our 7. That one has to be our 4. Alright, gotta clean up my pencil marks, here. So it looks like we now have a 7 across the bottom, 7 across the top. The center spot is the only one left for a 7. Okay, we have a 2 here, which means this cannot be a 2, has to be a 3. If that's our 3, this one has to be a 5. If that's a 5, this one has to be our 2. Okay, I'm just cleaning up marks. So we have a 1 and a 3 in this top row, but 3 can't be there, so this has to be our 1. And if that's our 1, then that's our 3. Then this is our 1. This is our 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Just nice and gentle with the pencil marks. We have a double lock here with a 3 and a 9. Well, we've got our 3 resolved. There's our 9. There's our 3. Alright, we have a 5 and a 9 locked, and there's our 9. So here's our 5, there's our 9. Now this 5 comes down here, which means this one has to be an 8. Okay, we have a 7 here, which means this one has to be our 5. And then the only number we're missing is our 7. Alright folks, there we have it. A lot of double eliminations, a lot of crisscross patterns. We had to check rows, columns, and combinations to get those pairs. And once we got a couple numbers, we had to go back and check those pairs again. So there are good techniques to use, and to use them over and over again. Rotate them up, find out what works. Great. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please feel free to, again, pause them at the beginning, print it off, play along, see how you go, and I always welcome suggestions, comments, and challenges. Thanks for watching, folks, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks. Bye.